Are you a leader or a follower? Most men think they already know the answer. They want to say leader because in our culture, leader sounds like power, strength, and status. Follower sounds like a death sentence to your ego. It sounds like being an extra in someone else's movie. But here's the truth that keeps most men stuck. Real strength is not choosing a label. Real strength is mastering the fluid skill of knowing when to lead and when to follow. Because sometimes leadership means stepping forward into the fire, and sometimes leadership means having the humility to step back and let someone more competent take the wheel. And here's what the alpha fantasy gets wrong. Some of the greatest leaders in human history were terrified of leading. They didn't seek power. They didn't crave the spotlight. They felt the weight, and that weight is exactly what made them good. Today, we're dismantling the alpha myth. We're going to expose why loud leadership fails and why quiet, modest, situational leadership actually wins. By the end of this video, you won't just know which role to play. You'll have a blueprint for situational mastery. This isn't about your ego. This is about your impact. Part 1. The myth of the loud man. Society sells men a cartoon version of leadership. The loudest guy in the room, the man who never listens, the man who dominates conversations and mistakes volume for authority. That's not leadership. That's insecurity wearing confidence as a costume. Real leadership looks very different. Taking responsibility, making decisions when others freeze, protecting the people around you, putting the mission above your pride. Leadership is service with authority, not dominance with noise. History proves this. In 1945, Harry Truman was vice president for only 82 days when Franklin Roosevelt died. Overnight, Truman inherited World War II, the atomic bomb, and the future of the world. He later said it felt like the moon, the stars, and all the planets had fallen on me. That's not bravado. That's fear mixed with duty. Truman didn't walk into the Oval Office pretending he had all the answers. He did something much more powerful. He asked Roosevelt's cabinet to stay. He didn't fire them to feel important. He kept the people who knew what he didn't. He surrounded himself with generals, scientists, and advisors, and he listened. Before he led nations, he followed wisdom. A man who refuses to follow is usually a man who can't lead, because if you've never learned what it feels like to be guided, you will never guide others with empathy or precision. Part 2. The benefits and cost of leading. When you step into leadership, you don't just get a title, you enter a furnace. When you lead well, you gain 3 things no one can take from you. Unshakable respect. People don't follow titles, they follow men who step up when things are unclear. Influence over outcomes. Most men live reacting to the world. Leaders shape it. Expansion of self. Leadership exposes your weaknesses instantly. You can't hide poor discipline when people are watching your example. But leadership has a cost. You carry blame when things fail. You absorb pressure so others don't have to. You make decisions that keep you awake at 3 a.m. That's why not everyone should lead all the time. Consider King George VI. He was never meant to be king. His brother abdicated the throne, and suddenly the crown landed on him. George had a stutter, he had chronic anxiety, he hated public speaking, and now he had to speak to a nation under bombing. He didn't fake confidence, he didn't become loud. He hired a speech coach, he practiced privately, he showed up anyway. When he spoke during wartime, people didn't hear perfection, they heard effort. His weakness made him believable, and believability creates trust. He didn't lead with dominance, he led with presence. Part 3. The danger of the middle ground. This is where most men fail. They're too proud to follow and too afraid to lead. They resent authority but won't accept responsibility. They complain but won't step forward. They live in no man's land, rigid but passive, critical but inactive. If you are always trying to lead, no one will trust you. If you are always trying to follow,
no one will respect you. The man who rises is the man who knows when to switch. Stop living on the sidelines. The sidelines are for spectators. This channel is for men in the arena. Part 4. How to be a great follower. Here's the forbidden truth. Being a good follower is strength. It is not submission. It is strategic alignment. Every great leader was once a student. Every master was once an apprentice. A great follower does 3 things. Follows with intention. You don't follow just anyone. You choose men who are disciplined, ethical, and consistent. You curate your leadership. Follows with effort. You anticipate needs. You solve problems before you're asked. You make the leader better. Follows with awareness. You study while being led. How do they handle crisis? How do they make decisions? You are a spy in the house of leadership. Picture walking into a serious martial arts gym. You may be successful in life, but in that room, you know nothing. If your ego tries to lead the coach, you'll get hurt. The strongest move you can make is to shut up and learn. That's not weakness, that's intelligence. Part 5. Situational Mastery. So, how do you know which role to take? You develop situational mastery. A man who always leads becomes a tyrant. A man who always follows becomes a shadow. The balanced man becomes powerful. Ask yourself 3 questions. Who has the most experience? If it's not you, support. Who carries the responsibility? If the outcome falls on your shoulders, step forward. What serves the mission? Not your pride, not your image, the result. At work, you may follow your boss, but lead your team. In marriage, you may lead in protection and follow in emotional intelligence. In fitness, you follow the program and lead your discipline. Strength is adaptive. Weakness is stubborn. Part 6. The Triumph Challenge. Truman felt the weight. George felt the fear. They didn't run from it. They structured around it. They listened. They sought advice. They stayed modest, not because they were weak, but because they were responsible. The mature man says, I will lead when the mission demands it. I will learn when my ego gets in the way. I will serve the mission, not my image. Here is your challenge for this week. Find one area where you have been half leading or half following. If you're a leader who hasn't been listening, ask for feedback. If you're a follower who's been passive, solve a problem before you're asked. Master the role you are in right now. That is how men rise. So, are you a leader or a follower? The alpha fantasy says, I lead everything. Truman didn't believe that. King George didn't believe that. They believed this, I serve the mission, and that is why history followed them. A strong man is both. A wise man knows when. A disciplined man does it well. If this message helped you, share it with another man who needs it. Subscribe to the Triumph channel for men. Because strength isn't about dominance, it's about direction. And the buck stops with you.